Hi, Dave Jones here. We're going to look at, this is a total beginner lesson for people who've done up a few of the tabs on the site and can play a few single line melodies. Because I would suggest you can do a few single line melodies and to get your fingers moving around first before moving on to chords. So this is your first chord lesson for absolute total beginners. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to read what's called a chord diagram. And this is the general way that chords are shown in books and on the internet and such like places where you can learn various chords and such like. And what happens is it's shown in a sort of an inverted guitar poked up in the air. So what I'll do is I'll show you the picture on the screen and talk you through it a bit, and then I'll show you a close-up of how your fingers go on the guitar. Like I say, this isn't a lesson for someone who can already play chords. This is for total beginners who've never played chords before. Okay, so this is what was called a chord diagram. I'm hoping I'm getting in shot well there. And this is a free PDF. You can print it off the website and read it later. But this big square here shows the top 3 frets of a guitar. It's like a guitar poking up in the air. Obviously, you don't want to poke your guitar up in the air, but that's the general way you learn these shapes. This top line here is called the nut. That's the white piece, usually white piece at the top of the guitar that the strings follow through. And these lines going across here are the metal things called the frets. You've got your first fret, second fret, third fret. And that's the names of the strings there, the E, A, D, G, B, E. So like I say, it's like a guitar poking up in the air. This particular chord is called a D major chord or a D chord. A lot of people don't put the word major after the major chords. Minors have a little M after. We'll go into that later. Now the fingers on your fretting hand, that's the one that holds down the strings, have got numbers 1, 2, 3, 4. Your index finger's 1. Your middle finger's 2, the ring finger's 3, and your little finger's 4. We're not going to be using finger 4 for this chord, but some chords do use 4 fingers. Now these red circles that I've put on the PDF are where you put your fingers, and the numbers are the fingers that you use. So on the G string at the first fret you use finger 1. At the second fret you hold down the G string with finger 1. At the second fret of the E string, you hold that down with finger 2, and at the third fret on the B string, you hold that down with finger 3. It forms like a little triangle. These X's at the top, the 2 X's, mean hopefully when you get more advanced, don't worry about it at the moment, but when you get more advanced, you should be missing those strings, and you don't really want to be hitting those strings with this particular chord. And the 0 means you do want to be hitting that string, but you want to play it open, in other words, no fingers on it. So that's what the chord diagram looks like, and that's what all chord diagrams look like. Obviously, fingers are in different places depending on the chord that you're playing. And what I'll do now is there's some blurb on this PDF that explains everything as well. If you want to print it off the website, it doesn't cost anything. And what I'll do now is I'll move to a close-up of the guitar and kind of show you how that works. Okay, so here's a close-up of the guitar, going through the bits again. This is the white piece that I was talking about called the nut. There's your strings, your E, A, D, G, B, E, and these are the metal things, your frets going down the guitar. So finger 1 is your index finger, and that particular chord that we just looked at, it goes on the second fret of the G string. Finger 2 goes on the second fret of the high E string, and finger 3 goes in the third fret on the third fret of the B string, and you ring hopefully from the D string downwards, so it should sound like this. Okay, now it's very important when you're playing chords, if you can, it's not possible with all chords, but it's very important when you're playing chords that you get your fingers as close to the fret as possible, not on top of it, because you get a sort of a dead sound. Just behind the fret, but not all the way back here. So that, although that's in the second fret, you get a buzzy sound and an unclear note. What you want to try and do is get it just as near to the fret as you can without putting it down on top of the fret, and that gives you a much cleaner sound chord. So I hope you've got that and find that useful. And once you can play this chord, if you want to, you could move on. There's a lesson up called First Chords, and it just takes you through some basic strumming patterns on some major and minor chords, and then you can go on and use those in the tab section where they've got some chord songs. So I hope you found that useful, and I'll see you again.